You can do it again. You can do it again.
I'll do it again. Welcome to one of the more starry editions of Off the Cuff. Starry because we have Indian film cinema's two of most popular and accomplished actors, Anushka Sharma and Varun Dhawan. I also have Nandita Singh with me, also Editor-in-Chief Shekhar Gupta. Anushka, Varun, you hear your film is all set to release later this month. It's a film about small-town India. There's been a resurgence of sorts of cinema that's centered around rural India of late. Do you think a large section of the Indian audience was bored of the rich NRI-centered cinema for all this time?
I think with the evolution of Indian cinema, at least this phase that we are in, realistic stories have come back in the foray. And the reason why I say back in the foray, because there was a time when we were making films that were primarily heartland. We've had massive hits like Mother India, which were based in the heartland. And there were so many, Ganga and Jamuna, so many roles and characters which big superstars like Amitabh Bachchan and Dilip Kumar or Nargis Dutt, they played these roles and then they became iconic. Then you went into another phase where we explored foreign countries, Indians over there, you know. Karan Johar made so many of these popular films. Aditya Chopra made so many of these popular films. And I guess it's pretty ironic that now we are coming in a film called Sui Dhaga, made in India, being produced by Aditya Chopra, who almost made one of the greatest love stories, Dilwale Dulhania. In 2018, he's coming out with the Heartland love story, which is very Indian at heart and hopefully will resonate with everyone.
Anushka?
Yeah, I think cinema is always going to depict the, the way the society is at the time. I think maybe back then we wanted to have like aspirations that we wanted to live up to. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but I think we were, wanting to see the world through cinema. So we were shooting a lot of films in Switzerland, and I guess even me, like who hadn't traveled abroad, I was seeing all of these movies and then seeing all these beautiful places. I think today in India, our awareness is becoming more because of because of the internet and just access of information that everybody has, constantly. So I would not agree that these are the only films that are happening. I think we're doing a mix of all kinds of films at the moment. You are doing urban love stories also, and you're doing like hinterland films, and at the same time you're also doing like gangster films, and you're also doing your regular romantic films, you're also doing comedies. So I think the thing that's happening at the moment is that the audience is way more accepting of different stories and different characters and different milieus, which is very exciting for us as actors and filmmakers, because you know that no matter what kind of a story you pick up, because ultimately you're just telling a story, you will find an audience for that story, like in some people or some group of people. And sometimes the same film can be for a large group of people. The same film can reach a mass audience like a Dangal, or I would like to believe even a Sui Dhaga is that kind of a film, that it is about a small town. It is about these people who probably don't have the kind of opportunities you and I have, but it is going to be something that is going to reach out to your mass audience because of the nature of the film. So I think acceptance in people has obviously, and the demand for different cinema is there at the moment, which perhaps earlier was more like specifically curated.
Sorry, I just want to add one thing. Whenever a film becomes a big blockbuster, whenever a film is known as a pan-India hit, this only happens if it's a mass hit. So, for example, I think if you see corporate India also today, corporate India or many of the foreign companies that are coming in, a lot of the investment is in heartland of India. Like we shot in Chanderi. And in Chanderi, and I'm not lying about this, the internet connection that I got in Chanderi through my Geo dongle was better than I was getting in Mumbai. It was really amazing to see that in Chanderi, where there are not so many cinema halls, or maybe the TV connection is not that good, but the internet connection is so good over there. Because you see corporates want to invest more in heartland India today. Even, for example, companies like Netflix or Amazon coming over here, if you see their usership base is 5 lakh or 6 lakh. But if they want to grow, the answer is heartland India. So whenever we talk of mass, that is only going to come through heartland India. So I mean, it makes sense in every way, because I think they are the backbone of the country. They're the heart of the country, actually. Heartland India is the heart of the country.
In fact, the gap between urban India and rural India is now narrowing. Yeah. And for me, a very good example was a film you made, NH10, you remember? which was
You saw it very late, Arun.
very late on a flight, very late on a flight. But there's a great line there where the cop says, "ये सब constitution, ये सब laws, यहाँ से 10 मील बाहर जाते हैं तो खत्म हो जाता है." So I think Hindi cinema's discovery of real India is a belated one, but a good one. And glad to see you stars doing it. Did anybody tell you क्यों कर रहे हो de-glamorized role?
You know, for me, honestly, the
मुझे ही बोलती है ज़्यादा because I'm an actress.
तो क्या बोला आपको? हाँ.
नहीं, मुझे ऐसा किसी ने actually नहीं बोला. I guess because of my trajectory, my filmography so far, people have understood that ये अलग-अलग type की फिल्में ही करती रहती है. So I guess that is there. But I think people make a very big deal out of these, non-glamorous roles, and I don't think when you might just feel that when you watch a trailer or when you see like a promo of the film, when you finally go to watch the movie, you forget the people who are in it. Hopefully, if we are really good in the film, you guys will forget the people who are in, and after 10-15 minutes into the film, you will be watching a story. And ultimately, if the story is good, you will buy into the story, you will buy into the characters, and you will buy into the people who are playing that. We are living in those times where we are able to make the audiences believe, even though we are proper commercial, mainstream, actors, we are able to convince the audience that we are these other people. We are these, whoever these characters are that we are playing. But I think all these questions only come up when the promos and all that come out, because, you might have just seen a magazine cover of mine, and then you see a trailer, and then you're like, "Arey, ye to bahut alag lag raha hai." But we live with it till the film comes out, and then, hopefully get some, recognition for that. But I think all this de-glam and all that, bahut bhar ki superficial cheezein hoti hain. So I don't, think about that much.
We are actors. It's our job to change with every film. For me, honestly, my childhood was very impacted when I saw films of Govinda or my dad directing, like Raja Babu, Sajan Chale Sasural. These are all films based in the village. So I saw them as a kid, and they imprinted in my mind. So now that when I play these characters of Heartland, I don't think it's, for me personally, I don't think it's new, but maybe a younger generation who saw me in more urban films, they suddenly feel ki, oh, he's trying something, very new. But eventually, being Indian, being Desi is something which is in my DNA. It's something which is in all our DNA subconsciously. So whenever you do that, or whenever a folk tune plays, or whenever a Bhangra tune plays, your connect to that as being born in India is going to be so instant. You can't even imagine. You won't even know why your body moved or reacted to something like that, because it's subconsciously in you. You know this is going to work. So I think a lot of people within our industry know this, that there's nothing bigger than an Indian story or a family film or a love story, because these are the two genres that work tremendously in our cinema, and have always worked and will always work.
Anushka, I think you're one of the most trolled Indian film actresses. You, along with Priyanka Chopra, perhaps. It's one thing to say that, develop a thick skin, be stoic about it. But what does it do to the psyche of an actor, of a woman, when you're constantly trolled? You were called manhoos. Priyanka Chopra was called characterless for wearing certain kind of clothes. What does it do to your psyche? You snap out of it later, but in that moment.
See, I think I have come to understand and accept that no matter how you are as people and what you're trying to represent and what changes you're trying to bring about, the people who you're trying to bring about that change for, or the people who you're representing, who are part of that change along with you, those ones are very few. And the ones who you're trying to, someone's thought process that you're trying to change are way more. So you will always be at the receiving end of this. And you have to come to terms with that. And you have to accept that that is the society that you're living in. It's not just, I guess women just become an easier target for people. But everybody is getting trolled left, right, center. Anything you say, like if you put a picture of you helping a blind man cross the road, they'll say, "Arey, deaf aadmi ko kyun nahi cross karaya? Blind wale ko kyun karaya?" Or something like that. They'll always find something to just, something negative to make out of even the most normal thing that you're doing. And it's not something that you're doing out of, making a scene about it, it might just be something very genuine. But if the world will always see things the way they are, they're not going to see things the way you are. So if I start getting affected by the world, what they're doing is a reflection of who they are, is a reflection of their upbringing, how their parents taught them, the kind of school they went to, the society they come from, the stuff that they read on the internet, the stuff that they choose to read on the internet, the shows that they choose to watch, the movies that they choose to see. That is who they are. Now, if I'm going to change the way I am, or if I'm going to start getting affected, and it's not like I don't get affected by it, of course I get affected by it, I'm only human. If I say something to you about your earrings right now, no matter how confident you might be as a woman, you will step off the stage and be like, dude, why did she say that about my earrings? Are my earrings not good? You might at least go and look in the mirror once, right? तो सबको होता है. But लोग बहुत ही coolly बोल देते हैं कि हाँ, but you're a public figure, so it doesn't matter. I accept it, fine, chalo. I get a lot of positives also out of being a public figure, but at the same time, it is difficult for anybody. So yes, it is difficult for you, but then when you understand why it is the way it is, then you just make your life a little easier. I'm not going to change the way I am just because a majority of people are not who I am. It's just who they are. So I can either feel sorry for them or I can start fretting about it. But I choose not to fret about it. I'll think about it for some time. I'll talk to my friend about it for a few hours and then I'll just forget about it. But yeah, I guess you just, have to just take things that happen to you. Yeah.
I wanted to go back to, you were talking about these movies that represent the heartland, but how easy or difficult is it to get into the skin of someone from a different demographic? Because coming from a position of privilege, there is the fear of appropriating people's narratives or adding to a stereotype that people in Bollywood or people in offices might have of people from rural backgrounds. So how careful you need to be to navigate that, and what kind of preparation goes into that?
I think first off, you have to trust the people that you work with. I think so. The writer of the film, or the director of the film, the producer of the film. So Sharat Kataria made a film called Dam Laga Ke Haisha, which won a national award. So
it was a very nice film, actually.
It's an amazing film, and big fan of the film. So when Sharat wrote this film and narrated this film and what this film meant, you could see his clarity as a writer and a director. Manish Sharma, who is the producer of this film as well, also knew a lot about the North, so he knows a lot about his director's vision and how he wants to put it out over there. So, once you read a film, you get an instinct that, whether this man knows his job and the way he wants to portray this subject. And then you honestly, filmmaking is a visual medium. Eventually, it's a director's medium, I believe. So I knew that when I read the script, at least I knew that this director really knows what he's talking about. He knows this area. Obviously, I'm from Mumbai. I am from a very privileged background, so I don't know what really the problems and how to face poverty, how a family goes through these things. I didn't know. I had to learn these things. So going and staying in an area, picking up their dialect, observing people, seeing their hardships, you actually do realize what people's problems are in our country sometimes. And trust me, it's not what... I don't think someone sitting in a city can understand that, Even a poor person in a city will not understand that, how a poor person in a village is. It's very, very different. The lifestyle is very different. But the most amazing thing what I saw over there was where we shot in Chanderi, and this really, really gave me a lot of happiness, was that the way people looked at religion over there, for example. In Chanderi, the azan was done 5 times a day. We could hear it always. And there was a Jain temple, always offering, people were praying over there and chanting, and we could hear that. And both the religions were existing so beautifully. And that was so nice to see and so wonderful to see, that how they're getting along so well, and there's actually no problem, and it's so peaceful. And we were shooting in the houses, they were helpful. They were like one. It was one community of everyone staying in Chanderi. So that is also a different thing from what someone probably in a city thinks of, how things are usually. So that was wonderful to see as well. So
how many of you know where Chanderi is? Everybody knows what Chanderi sarees are.
Chanderi sari is...
It's a tiny place in Madhya Pradesh where they weave these beautiful sarees. So that's where they shot this film. Nandita, go ahead.
But can I just add to what
Yeah.
just Varun said about the? I think a lot of times what people don't realize is that ultimately we are actors, and we can play anybody because that's literally like our job to play like different characters. And no matter what, like when you watch this film, you're not going to think, "Chalo, I have come up from a very regular, very regular middle class family, but yet it's not been
Fauji family.
from a Fauji family, but it's not been from like the world of Mamta and Moji. But at the same time, your observations have always been there. Like there are members of my family, extended family, who are from that background, who are not very well-to-do, but you have observed it when you're growing up, and you see all of those things. Similarly, if I have to play someone who was like when I was in the beginning of my career, and if I had to play like somebody who was extremely like, rich, and I've just been like, landing from choppers or something like that, although I've not had that life, but you will have a kind of understanding of that, and you do that. So I think somewhere you have to remove the stardom from an actor. Like today we're very in a place where even our mainstream actors who are stars are also actors, and they're very good actors also. So many of the boys and girls. So I think we should kind of give that credit to them, that they can they know their craft and they know how to act.
And they can become.
And they can
what they
become
need to
different people.
Nandita?
I just want to compliment you for the entire get-up. I saw the promos. I noticed you're very...
We'll get the microphone to you in just a bit.
This isn't working, but what I wanted to know...
No. It will work. You should ask when it works.
Okay. I just actually wanted to know, we are
Ma'am,
talking
if you
about...
tell us your name.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm Dr. Vanita Gupta. I'm a dermatologist. I work in Chandigarh as the Director of AIDS Control. And we're visiting Delhi just to see you two here today.
Thank you.
And participate in this program. So I actually just wanted to know, when you are into a film, and we are talking about all different categories of roles that both of you do, is it purely what the director and the story tells you, or since you have observed life, having lived it, and your extended family, would you prompt him to change some of the things that he has planned and be more realistic, or would you just follow his line?
With Sharath, we didn't have any of those issues which you might have otherwise. There are times when you're working with a filmmaker, and I would just say sometimes with the character that I'm playing, that I might feel that the representation is not happening correctly of the person that I'm portraying, of the girl that I'm portraying, and it's not fair in the way that it should be portrayed in a society. So at that time, you really try to kind of, you try to change their mind for it. You keep like annoying them and calling them and saying, this is not seeming right, can we do? And you do that. But in this case, with Sharath, he's a very, very conscientious human being and director. So he really takes good care of these things really well. So that's why I think we were really at ease when we were working with him. We didn't have to think once that he was going to misrepresent the people that he is portraying. In fact, he has done it. And I don't know if you've seen his last film, Dam Laga Ke Haisha, but it was a very good film. And yeah, so he, you can see that, he's very true to the world that he portrays and the people that he's portraying. And we're very lucky actually that today we're working with all these, new directors who, and they come from different parts of the world, of the country, of the world, and they come and portray like, their vision on screen, which is really unique and not been done before, but representing the world very, very correctly. So I think we, as actors, as actors of this generation, we are very, very fortunate to be working with these people. But yes, to answer your question, sometimes you do have somebody who's a little bit taking some leeway, and especially it happens a lot with like women, like female characters, and we really have to be like, yeah, no, please, this is not looking right. Please, aisa nahi hota hai. So let's just, yes. You keep trying, you keep trying.
To her now.
After a while, they just... No, but I've been very fortunate, honestly. I've been very, very fortunate that from my very first film, when I was working with Aditya Chopra, and Aditya Chopra is like, one of the most powerful men in the industry. But see, they're creative people. They are not stuck up. They are very open. As a creative person, you have to be open. Otherwise, you cannot be creative. It's as simple as that. So even then, he would ask me, what do I think? How do I want to play this role? How do I want to say these lines? And I kid you not, he has never, ever told me how I should do it. No, none of my directors so far. I've been very, I would say, fortunate that whenever I've put forth my, understanding of the character, or I wanted some changes, they have always valued what I've said. Because I guess I was also coming from a place of reasoning. You know, it was not coming from like, make me look nicer na, like nothing like that. It was always coming from, yeah, this is better for the film, this is better for the character. If the character will be believable, the film will be believable. People will want to watch this movie because it's looking true on screen. Yeah.
So obviously, there's been a lot of talk about how your movies in particular, Varun, have crossed this 100 crore mark. And so, as it all, does it feel reductive talking about numbers in such a way that all your movies are just measured by this line that should be crossed? And does that determine what kind of scripts you take or the roles that you look at?
You know, I'll be very honest, while they were happening and these marks or whatever records you want to call them, they were happening, as a human being, obviously it'll give me a lot of joy. But then when I do a film like October, for me, which is a very personal piece of work and which impacted me greatly and people loved. And then, you know, October did what it had to do at the box office because that's the kind of film it was, and then it did well on digital. But then when it doesn't do that, and then the trade goes, हाँ, but 100 crore nahi kiya na, but 100 crore nahi kiya na. So then you start to think, yeah, for me, honestly, when I do films like that, it's almost going back to the basics. And when I say this, I honestly do films, it's no longer a reason to just earn a livelihood for me or to support my family. It's honestly just for the art and the craft. For me, the most fun I have is when I'm in front of the camera and I'm performing a scene. Whether I'm doing it wrong, whether I'm doing it right, as long as artistically I'm expressing it, and I want to do it in 10 different ways. Maybe the director doesn't even need it. Many times my director says, Varun, but ye chahiye hi nahi mujhe. Yeah, but I think mere ko karne do na, because I'm really enjoying myself so much. And that's the joy I get just being an actor.
It's happened a lot on Sui Dhaga.
Yeah. I just want to try it different ways. Like I played a dog. I had like 3 different barks. Because dogs do have different barks. You have a lazy dog. You have a very active dog. You have dogs who just run behind the car. So there are different dogs. Now, what type of dog am I?
Can you do different dogs? हो जाए.
Okay, so one is the smaller dog probably. Then one is if he's sad or something. And
third is the top dog.
One is a slightly older dog, which I feel like.
These are very polite dogs.
I've had good encounters with them, luckily. So
My favorite is the dog that decides to get into a conversation with a dog 5 streets away.
away, oh yeah,
Yes.
that happens
That
usually at
goes
2
on for
o'clock
some
at night.
time, Yes.
Anushka has a great way of talking to animals, but I'm not going to make you do it. But that's something that really fascinates me about her. The way she actually like talks to dogs, like a proper conversation.
What
I have
language
seen-
do we use, Anushka?
It's a different language. But it's English and Hindi, but in a different way.
It's normal.
It's normal.
For them. It won't sound normal to human beings.
Introduce yourself first.
Okay, so I'm Tamanna, and I'm very, it's so good to see you both here.
And what do you do, Tamanna?
Sorry?
What do you do?
I'm just graduate pursuing civil services, and I'm very
Congratulations.
happy to... Thank you.
Must be damn hard. Must be studying a lot.
Yeah, studying 6 hours a day right now, but it's gonna convert to 20 hours a day. So my question to you is, as like your movie is coming, Sui Dhaga, and the main you've portrayed is for the small town, like the entrepreneurship they do, and for the livelihood of the people. So in the real world, there's so much of small towns, and a lot of people doesn't have that kind of a livelihood. So what in the real world can we do so that they have a standard living of life? Because not everybody can start a garment business or anything in small town. So what we can do in real life?
You know, so what we discovered while doing this film at least is that the kind of obstacles they face are much more different from what a city slicker would face, you know. So there's this website that IIFL has launched called suidhaga.co.in, and they've partnered up with Fair Trade. So what we are trying to do, at least because in Chanderi, when Anushka, she bought a lot of saris over there. We chatted with the people, you know, making the saris over there.
There's a meme of Anushka Sharma also.
Sorry?
On the side, there's a meme of Anushka Sharma also.
There's a meme.
Yeah.
There's a meme on everything now.
Everywhere, on the entire social media.
So I think in order, so any good cause is there, and we want people to realize that we're going to put a meme of Anushka over there. So that then people will see the good cause, at least through the meme now. No, but so we've launched this website, suidhaga.co.in with fair trade. So what happens through this is that we've featured all different artists on this website. And because fair trade is partnered with us, all the money will go directly to the artist. There's no middleman involved who puts a massive markup on their art, and then they get a very small amount of that, because their artistry and their work is actually worth so much more. But these poor guys, they don't know how to, make the maximum out of it, And while people in cities or really wealthy people are ready to pay for their art, but they don't make the margin, the maximum profit of that goes to all the middlemen associated in it, So today, because of this digital boom that we are going through, we can connect Heartland India with urban India, and we can make sure that you can make sure that through fair trade that they make their profit.
Done. Thank you so much.
If you'd stand up, introduce yourself.
Hi, Varun, and hi, Shekhar. Hi, Anushka. Well, I just wanted to ask you to, first of all, I want to compliment you. I saw the promo.
I know who you are, but tell everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shefali, and that's my mentor. Well,
Okay, that's why he's getting so angry.
You can blame me for now if you choose to, but it's okay.
Well, I used to write for
He's
his
very
publication.
strict with guests.
No. He's a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart.
Why blame me?
Okay.
Now I realize there's like some connection.
Yes, of course, we have a connection. I want to first compliment you. Great get up. I noticed you were wearing these two little, glass bangles. And when you sat, when you were doing all the block printing, you always had that thing and a very frail and a very lovely demeanor. So, fantastic. You just sank into the skin of Mamta, is it? Yeah. And a question I want to ask you, Varun. You said, can I sit, Shekhar?
Sure.
I'm growing old. Okay. A question I wanted to ask Varun. You said that, when you went into these places in Chanderi and you were so touched by, the poverty there, that even a person in a major city would not know what poverty is. Do you get overwhelmed when you see that?
Definitely. I mean, the house that we were shooting in, for example, here we can't do without AC. We don't walk much. It's different. It's completely different over there. There's this scene in the film where pretty much this Moji and Mamta, me and Anushka, we cycle pretty much for 10 hours over some period of time. And in the heat, literally at you start at around 7:30, it's fine, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, it's fine. 12:30, when it's pretty much top light, it really starts getting to you and you get dehydrated and it hits you.
No, I mean the poverty. Does it
Yeah,
overwhelm you?
I'm getting to that. So this is part of it. Now, this we just did for one day. Then when I imagined how these people do this to get to that destination every day, I was like, how do they even do this? Where do they get this will from? They don't have money to buy food for themselves or buy water from themselves, but they're still doing this every day. And I realized that one thing which keeps them going is family. Because they know they have to provide for their family. They know they have to provide for their parents, their children, or whatever the setup is in the house. So I realized the drive that they must be getting and how much they must be loving their families, that they are ready to do this day in, day out. And when you see the poverty, you realize how unequal it is in the world, for that matter. And you realize that distribution of wealth has been unequal for centuries, actually. But it really gets to you, and you just wish sometimes that, maybe things could have been distributed in a way fair, in a more fair place. Maybe we should, where, coming from Mumbai, I mean, I know the Mumbaiites keep complaining about potholes during the rainy season, but the stuff that they do is something else. But I have to come back to this, and I want to say this, that no matter what they are going through, they've had a smile. I just see them having a smile on their face, all these people. They have this inherent spirit and this fighting spirit, I just feel Indians have that, no matter what. Things have to get better, and they should get better for sure. There is a need. But I'm just saying that this spirit, I was so inspired by this spirit of theirs, of never say die, never give up, that now whenever I'm in, because as actors you have to always smile, you always, no matter what's happening in your personal life or no matter what's happening, you have to always smile and show that all's good. But seeing them, I I just remind myself that, you know, these people are going through that and yet they are at it, they're doing it. So I get that drive, I get really inspired by these people today.
I know there are other people who are wanting to ask a question, so you can answer this in a yes or a no. When you said that, you know, there's always this pressure about 100 crore that you have to cross when you're performing on the sets, do you have it at the back of your mind? Do you have any kind of pressure that, you know, oh my God, I have to deliver. This is what it's got to be.
You know, my pressure is more when I'm doing a film is more that, you know, what I'm doing, is entire India going to get it? Or is it only going to be people living in like the big buildings, or only people going to the big multiplexes? Is this film only for them, or is everyone in a village also going to get in? Because eventually that's also an audience that I'm catering to. Those are also my people. So I never forget that, and I think that's partly also because of my father, because that's how his cinema has always been that way. And he's come from a small town. He's struggled his way up. So I always hear his stories of what he's been through. So he's always making films for those people, you know. So that is a part of me also. That's also a part of Varun somewhere. So I always, but there's nothing like when I'm giving a shot, I'm like, "Arey, ye tha 100 crore wala shot." So there's.
So Anushka, do you feel pressured now? Hundreds of crores ride on your shoulders also, no? So do you also feel pressured?
And she's given way more bigger blockbusters than me. Much bigger.
You know, I think this 100 crore and all of these things now, firstly, is a very, very, like a very media-friendly concept, you know, because it's another topic to write stories on. That will this film cross 100 crores? And for somehow, because it's been like beaten to death, you know, spoken so much about that. Even like now, people comment also कि ये तो 100 crore की picture लग रही है, and all YouTube में देख के कैसे पता चल रहा है यार, trailer देख के कि picture 100 crore करने वाली है नहीं, you know what I'm saying? But it's always like it's become a thing now, and I think as actors you cannot do that. If you go out there thinking I'm going to sign a 100 crore film, I guarantee you, I don't think anybody, maybe other than Raju Irani, I don't think anybody in this industry can ever say that when they wrote a script or when they. Even Raju Irani, not when he was writing, I think, but when you're done, you know, writing the film and an actor's reading and thinking, "Ha, ye picture to itne crore kamane wali hai." You can't think like that. And if you are thinking like that, then you are really going to fall very badly on your face. But I feel as actors, especially, I mean, of course, things are changing a lot for like female actors right now, and even like films led by female protagonists are also crossing those numbers. But I think this pressure has been a lot on male actors. Because I feel that every time they do a film, their last film is always going to get compared to the 100 crore film that they've done or the 200 crore film that they've done. Even though the films by nature might be two very, very different films and their audience is going to be very different. So as an actor, firstly, you need to know what is this film that you're doing. So if I'm doing a film like Pari or NH10, I know for a fact that that film is not going to reach to every place. I'm not even going to release those films in that way. My screens also will be much lesser than, say, a Sui Dhaga or a Sultan or a PK, right? So I know the audience that I'm making this film for. And you know that when you're reading a film. And then acting is not going to change. Acting is going to be the same only. You act for the character. So you can't think of this. And if you take on that pressure, it's really, really fatal. Because you cannot compare, like, say, Varun's October to, say, Varun's Judwa, because Judwa is cushioned with Gaane and romantic angles and, you know, like the typical romantic angles that people like, romantic Gana bhi hai, dance wala Gana bhi hai, all of that. And then what else? Like, the marketing is such, he's removing his shirt, you know, that's a big thing, you know, that really gets like people. So all of that, and if you're doing that, you know that you're going to reach out to a wider audience because wo cheeze like snippets hai, they'll play more on news channels and all of that. So again, film ka marketing zyada hoga. You need to understand those things and then do a film. So you can't put that pressure on actors, and actors should not put it on themselves, even though the media might put it, even though the trade will do it, because if you continue to do that, then our industry is going to suffer. It's as simple as that.
It's also I know because we are around a lot of journalists today, so I must say this. So it's also somewhere the Hindi film industry using journalism. Because if you have to print something, you know what you're going to read. Oh, this film did 25 crores.
But in some places, you can just pay and get it published.
Some places, no, every place, sir. But I have to say, I'm very proud of this, that Yashraj doesn't do MediaNet. Yeah. And nor do they buy views. So even on YouTube, when you see these, it started on YouTube also, 100 million views, 200 million views. No, what I mean is like for songs and all, you know, videos cross. So a lot of those views are bought internationally and in India. So a lot of those things are bought. So It's a big perception game as well, these things. Soon, I bet you soon in the next 5 years, you'll be earning 500 crores, 1,000 crores. It's going to start going to that. I'm not getting any of that money, so where is it going?
But sometimes, I mean, as paying film watchers, we also have regrets. If I may say so, Bombay Velvet I thought was a brilliant film. And I just...
After you saw it also,
After I saw it. Yes, it was...
I'm happy to know that.
was-
I think Anurag also will be very happy. Our team will be very happy.
He knows what I think of it. And I think just because a lot of people did not get the brilliance, political brilliance of that film, because all the characters in that film are characters who were known in Bombay politics. I mean, if you had read about that politics, you could name each one of them. There was Karaka, there was let me not name the politicians who were there because now they are gone. There was Datta Samant, there was Bala Sahib Thackeray, they were all there. So sometimes people don't get it, even ambitious, high-budget films, but that's...
But it's very important for people to get it because...
Well, the problem is that it's like politics, no? One man, one vote.
Yeah.
So I may have liked it, but I'm only one ticket. So...
You were talking about the questions journalists ask of film stars. Someone recently said of Bollywood reporters that unse milke aise lagta hai that between a film release and sleeping with people, there's nothing that's happening in your lives. What do you think is the most frustrating thing we do to you all as journalists?
I think for me, I will say that it's when my work is not taken seriously and my personal life is given more precedence over my work. And I'm constantly having to tell a journalist, guys, you're calling me here to talk about my work. मेरे नाम के नीचे तुम actor लिखने वाले हो, but तुम मुझसे please ज़्यादा सवाल मत पूछो मेरी personal life के बारे में. Just leave it, to my profession. And sometimes it's very annoying that those are the only questions you're, most of the time. And even if you give a long ass interview for like, sorry. But even if you give a very long interview, say 45 minutes, I've spoken about cinema and what I feel about cinema.
We live in the Netflix world now, so everything is kosher.
But ये तो आ रहा है ना national television thing. And if I'm, talking about my work, I'm talking about, my struggles as an actor, what I was thinking when I was making, and I'm feeling like, wow, this conversation is going really well, and this person is really asking me interesting questions and all that, and then they'll ask me one question about, say, my personal life, and somehow that becomes like the and I guess it's like very irritating as actors because you are asked also questions, not just on your personal life, about everything that's happening in the world. You'll be asked questions about politics, you'll be asked questions about some social issue, you'll be asked questions about everything that's happening, which is fine as a human being, as a responsible human being. I have an opinion on most things, but it's not necessary for me to put my opinion out there on everything that's happening. If that was the only way to make a change, then why is no change happening after so many of us are talking? So then please don't use us to, make headlines and make news and all of that. And somewhere even really not really advance the cause for which you're really asking us questions. I might as well do something about it on the side, actually make a difference, actually go out and help somebody, or actually go out there and something as simple as vote and tell people around me to vote, or do something like a responsible citizen and a person in my position who can create awareness about things. But other than that, I think somewhere we really get asked things which are really not anything to do with the profession. Although I don't see anybody else commenting on any other professional commenting on everything that's, that's happening.
Also, I feel what's happened with the Hindi film industry is that today anything any actor does, it's always in print. And I always feel that if you're doing a good deed, I don't think anyone who does a good deed actually needs to talk about it. Why talk about it? Why do I need to do something?
Many would say, why do it if you don't talk about it?
Yeah.
No,
so
exactly.
But it's becoming like that now, which is very scary.
And why do you have to justify it also? And we are asked to justify it. Why should we justify it? You will not know what I'm doing with the money what I'm doing, or with my time, what I'm doing to help somebody. And I don't need to tell anybody. It's not someone's, a very wise man says that, do something good when nobody is watching.
Yeah.
It's very easy to go out there and increase your, your ego that, oh, I did this, I'm such a nice person, I help so many people, oh, please put my thing on, in what was that? When you put a stone there and you say, I have given this money and I have given money for this ambulance and all. God, never, man.
MLAs and
If I'm not okay to do that, then why are you asking me to open and talk, go out there and speak about things? Why is that?
The other thing which is very dangerous, which happens nowadays is, or which has been happening in the last because of, again, the digital boom, is the misrepresentation. Like you might give an interview, I'm not saying that side journalist who's taken your interview, but some other person, some blogger, someone online will just take those 5 words you said out of context and make a whole story out of that. So now when someone reads that headline will be more interesting than your actual interview, and you'll be like, oh, isne ye bola, that means he's like that. Then all this starts, Even if your intention is good about something. And fooling with the media, so today you cannot do only. And I do that a lot, and I get into a lot of trouble because I have a sense of humor, I laugh on myself, I don't mean any harm, I make a lot of fun of myself as well. But the minute you do that, you do some of a serious issue if you fool. I feel sometimes by turning things into humor, it makes...
I also want to tell you all one more thing. I don't know if you've seen it on YouTube, you'll find all these videos. Where the headlines, you'll say there'll be a, like this event has happened just now, there'll be a video, there'll be a snippet of this video, and there'll be like that then in comics you have that, whatever, thinking thing, whatever, I don't know what you call this thing, the bubble, thought bubble, speech bubble. There'll be a speech bubble there, which will say something like, Varun, the speech bubble will say, with my picture and his, Varun, ज़्यादा मत बोल, हाँ, मैं देख लूँगी तुझे बाद में. Like ऐसा कुछ होगा. So you will think, and they'll say, Anushka ने event में वरुण धवन को कुछ ऐसा बोला. You'll see the hits on that. It'll have massive hits.
मुझे भी idea आ गया.
And you'll go and click on it.
मुझे भी idea आ गया.
Sir, आपको बहुत late आ रही है. बहुत समय से ये लोग करे जा रहे हैं ये सब कुछ.
कि वरुण धवन ने कुछ उल्टा सीधा बोला, इसलिए अनुष्का ने उसका पतलून फाड़ दी.
And then you'll go there and you'll see that video, and there is no such line spoken there at all. So the lengths people are going to just make like ridiculous news. And people are actually clicking on it also. So I don't know what's happening in this world, really.
So if you don't think actors need to make a statement about every issue, then because you are role models, especially for lots of young people who emulate you.
Not all of us.
Well,
some of you better not be.
Yeah, exactly. Some of us don't want to be role models. We are forced. आप role model. हाँ ठीक है, मैं role model. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, so do you feel like fame did come with a certain responsibility to set precedent or to set an example for the youth in a certain way in terms of the role?
Can I tell you something? I agree with what you're saying. But let's be extremely honest. A lot of times people really want to know from you certain things which are not very heavy as actors. Okay? I'm a very, very socially responsible, conscientious human being. And more times than less, people want to know things about me which have nothing to do with me, my intelligence, my understanding, my wisdom, nothing. What they want to probably know from me is, what is my beauty regime? How am I staying in this shape? Or something to do with some interest in my personal life. A lot of times, I'll be very honest with you, those are the things which people are interested in. So, I have realized that the only way to really, genuinely make any difference in anybody's life is to do it through actions. What I represent as a person, I'm not going to say the right things because it's the right thing to say. I will say the right things even if 20,000 people are not saying that because it's the right thing to say. But at the same time, I'm not going to allow anybody to use me and use my position to further their stories, further their agendas. Because I'm too intelligent to understand that that's it. You are really not, I'm just being used as one of the people whose voices can be out there and I have followers and then you can say, हाँ, इसने भी ऐसी बात बोली थी. So let's be very honest about it. That's really the case. A lot of times where I've said some things which have had some meaning, which have had some, like Varun was saying, they've always been taken out of context and made into something which has come and harmed you eventually. And it's not fair to anybody to go through that.
Also, this role model thing, what you're talking about, I've had role models while growing up. I've loved them, they've inspired me, everything. But at some point, they've made mistakes, and I've seen that in the media, or I've read about it, something. I didn't get disappointed at that young age also, because somewhere I thought, they're human like me. So where they are, even I can reach one day. Because after all, they're human only. So trying to portray, it's easy. Today with Instagram and with these filters and Twitter and paid press, it's very easy for anyone to actually portray this perfect image of this role model. But I always say this, and I will say this, that I make a lot of mistakes. I am human. Love me, hate me, do whatever you want to do with me. I work hard, I give my 100%, but I want people to like me for me. There's no point people liking me because I'm talking about causes I don't even feel for sometimes, but because my PR is saying, "Acha, ye hua hai, ab ye bol do. Now say this, it's the best time." So many people will love you because you spoke about this. But if it's not coming from my heart, trust me on this. If it's not coming from my heart, people will see through it.
And can I tell you, in a world today that we're living in, where even not just celebrities, regular people who have social media accounts are curating their images and creating a persona for themselves which is socially acceptable, let me tell you that in a world like that, if you as a celebrity, as a public figure, you are going out there and saying, I'm flawed, I make mistakes, learn from my mistakes, which is what I think is what I mean when I say that leading by example, that I'm doing the right things, but I'm going to make a mistake. If you can follow that, I think that's a better role model to have, because today people are just being so fake about the way they're portraying themselves, you know. Quite honestly, everyone just wants to show the best picture of themselves. They have absolutely no problems, or they're doing the nicest things in the world, but in reality, that's not your life. That's not your life. You're not even doing that.
And talking about reality, honestly, we put makeup and someone has blow-dried our hair and all, and we're sitting here, so we probably looking presentable to you all. We didn't wake up like that. Eventually, even actors are just as normal people. Because we are playing normal people most of the time.
Question in the back, and then we'll come to others.
Myself, Sandeep Jindal.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Special thanks to Shekhar ji for making us a part of the show.
Is he your mentor as well?
Thank you. Congratulations, Anushka madam, for
All
marrying
congratulations are taken as
a legendary, our character. My question is very simple. I saw you in the movie Jab Tak Hai Jaan, exceptionally young girl, and now in Sui Dhaga after the marriage. So Virat Kohli ji must have convinced you for a movie wearing sari and...
Can you be a little louder?
Sorry.
Please ask your question. All compliments are taken as read. मैंने पहले बोल दिया था. Ask your question.
I don't think he's your mentor.
I have seen your movie Jab Tak Hai Jaan. In that you were an exceptionally young girl in that movie, and after marriage you are doing Sui Dhaga movie with sari, and I think Virat Kohli ji must have convinced you कि एक movie करो जिसमें साड़ी वगैरह.
I think you are dealing with a new generation of Indians where husbands don't convince wives to do anything and vice versa.
That's why I think मैंने उनका आधा ही सवाल सुना था और मैंने कहा definitely ये तो आपके mentor नहीं है.
और कल को फिर आप बोलोगे कि उनको कवर ड्राइव आपने बताया होगा.
मैं तो नहीं सिखाती सर उनको. Similarly वो भी मुझे मेरे काम के बारे में inputs नहीं देते हैं. And I think आजकल ऐसा नहीं होता है, जैसे उन्होंने बोला, हम लोग बहुत capable हैं अपनी life खुद के decisions खुद लेने के लिए. मैं इतने दूर तो यहाँ पे खुद ही तो आई हूँ ना. तो अगर इतनी दूर मैं खुद आ गई हूँ तो उसके आगे तो आई थिंक मैं चली लूंगी.
हस्बैंड से बिना पूछे आई हैं.
जैसे वो भी.
Hello Varun ji. I am and Anushka ji. I am Rachna Jain. I am electronics and telecommunication engineer. My question is for Anushka ji. I want to ask, you are coming from a military background, defense background. So does that fact helps you in the acting profession also? As we all know that the defense persons are strong in their making their choices and they stand by it strongly.
Ma'am, do you know what are children of defense people called? They are called brats. Why? I have no idea, but they are called brats.
I want to get to the bottom of this. Why are they called brats?
I think because they must be brats. Why do you ask me?
I'm not a brat.
I didn't start calling them brats, but they are just called brats. Brats in a nice way.
So does that help you in the acting profession also? That the special traits of the defense persons they are strong in their choices, in making their choices, and they stand by it. So does that help you in the acting profession also?
Look, I think any experience that you've had growing up, your upbringing affects the way you are as a person. It affects anybody. A doctor's kid will also have certain experiences. I would not be able to say exactly per se in acting what's helping me, but as an individual, the decisions that I've taken, the strength that I have as a person, my ability to adjust to different situations, to adjust to different groups of people. Because my father was in the army, we've traveled around the world, I keep saying, around the country so much. We've mixed around with people from different parts of the country, because of which I've been able to pick up a lot of accents. I've done a lot of roles in which I played different, characters. It has helped me because of the people that I was surrounded by. When you come from an army background, I might be growing up in Bangalore, but I'm growing up around a South Indian, someone from the Northeast, someone from Maharashtra, West Bengal. Everyone is from different parts of the country. So I feel like you are more aware, your awareness is a lot more, your world becomes much wider, and as an actor, because you keep traveling, because you keep meeting people from different places, so your awareness is so much more. So I think nothing that I've ever heard in a story, in a character, have I felt like, ye kahan ke hote hain? Ye kaise hote hain? Because I've always known, accents, people, I've always known these people around me. Somewhere or the other, I have seen somebody from there. So it has definitely helped me. And the other thing that's helped me is also the task given, task done. Like they say in army, like if you give a task, like you never have to follow up again. If I tell you, ye kar dena, you can be rest assured that it's done. But I suffer because of that, because that doesn't happen in my profession. So only I'm following that. Baki is like you have to keep following up. Kya. So there it kind of helps.
Waver after making choices, because you stay
Ma'am,
strong in that.
I think
Are you
we'll
from a
take the
defense
next question
background?
now.
I got it. Understood.
This question is to both of you. If Raju Hiran... Okay.
Please introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Anuj and I mentor startups at IIT Delhi. Okay, this question is to both of you. If Raju Hirani were to make a movie, something like Heather, which do not appeal, say, Afsa or Chutzpah, what they used, which is against India, would you use your creative liberty or... I think
that question is, I think, more for Raju Hirani than it is for us.
No, I mean, assuming Raju Hirani is...
What do you mean is if a very big director offered you a film and there were some sentiments in it which
Against
were anti-India, would you still do it?
Yes.
So see, the thing is, it depends what character you're playing. If you're playing a protagonist or a negative character. See, there has to, for me at least, when I do a movie, there has to be some positive in the film also. But if I'm playing a negative character, if I'm playing a villain, then I have to be non-biased and play that role, no? Whether I play whatever. That doesn't make me that character. So,
No, but
Huh?
see, but let
I know. Thank you for saying that, sir. I'm a role model to you also. Then I won't do it. Chalo, this is a big... I was just telling her today that only children like me, I think.
He's a startup mentor, na? He can start up at any point himself.
Thank you, sir.
But since you asked the question, first of all, Vishal Bhardwaj made Heather, not Rajkumar Hirani. And second, if you see that film without your biases, it's not at all anti-India. In fact, that film is very pro-India. And the fact that Indian audiences can appreciate a film like that, or Razi, where a Pakistani military family is not a family you hate. They are on the other side, but it's not a family you hate. I think this shows that we are maturing as a nation, and cinema is maturing. Otherwise, Indian cinema, to इनके सामने मैं कह रहा हूँ, वो सनी देओल फेज में एक था कि एक आदमी जाके सारी पाकिस्तान की आर्मी को मार दिया करता था. वो ऐसे नहीं होता है रियल वॉर में. So I think these films now show a maturing of India. So it was awkward for them. So, sir, you go ahead.
Hi Varun, hi Anushka. I am Ananya Dhawan, an engineering student. So my question is for you, Varun. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Dhawan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you manage to strike a balance between commercial entertainers and content-driven films, and yet have a 100% success ratio?
Honestly, I'll be very honest about this. I'm just trying to follow my heart when it comes to scripts and filmmakers. The type of human being I am, and I've realized this moving forward, I've been very blessed and fortunate to work with some really good people. Whether I worked with Remo D'Souza in ABCD2, whether I worked with Shashank Khetan, who's from Nasik, he made his first film with Humpty, or whether I worked with Sriram Raghavan or Sujit Sarkar. One thing in common between all these guys are that they're really, really nice people. So I think when I heard the script, I didn't get into commercially kya hoga ya artistically kya hoga. I just know that they made it with the right intent. So some of these films were even panned by critics, but went on to do massive numbers. A lot of people did watch it. Because I think sometimes if the intent of making a film is right now, a film can never go wrong. Your intent of making the film and the message you actually want to give someone. And most of the films I do promise entertainment only. And that's what I want to do. I want people to enjoy themselves when they're watching the film. Either they are smiling, either they are laughing, either they बहुत time pass हुआ, बहुत अच्छा लगा ये देखिए, एक थोड़ा सा message भी मिल गया. So I try and go with that. And sometimes when I want to give a message, then like Selfless Love in October or Revenge in Badlapur, then also the intent is very clear of the director. And then I breathe and live that role. And then when it comes out, I think the audience can see the honesty. So it's all about the connect with the audience. I'm actually not whenever I'm speaking, I'm only speaking to the audience. I'm not speaking to anyone else.
I mean, since you mentioned Badlapur, I think if you've seen some of his scenes with Divya Datta there, I think they are some of the most sensitively done scenes on mainstream Hindi cinema.
Yeah, Varun.
I think you've asked your question. Now, who has the microphone? Who has the microphone? Shubleen?
Hello Anushka, hello Varun. I'm Divya Maheshwari. I've been professor. My question is from Anushka, because Varun is always from a celebrity family. Anushka, you have been from a middle class family and now you have a stardom. मिडिल क्लास फैमिली में बहुत सारी एक्टिविटीज़ होती हैं, हम बहुत फ्रीली कर सकते हैं, बट बीइंग अ सेलिब्रिटी, बीइंग अ पब्लिक फिगर, यू आर क्वाइट इन अ बाउंड्री. So, do you miss those activities, freaking out with friends in a public area? Which space you feel more comfortable? I know there is no comparison between both the...
I just want to tell you one thing. I'm sorry. You know, when I was growing up, my father, we were actually pretty... yeah, because he... No, she's saying... I just want to take some sympathy. So, when it started, we were living... I was born in a one-bedroom flat. You know, and then obviously my dad's career came up. But I've really enjoyed life, like from dancing on Ju Beach during Ganpati Visarjan.
I think he's taken it personally.
Very personally.
I'm more free. I can dance here also if you tell me to dance. I'm very free.
Because up till yet, I've seen whatever interviews of yours, you have been a very free, very natural one. Not being the celebrity style. So that's why I feel you must be feeling more difference in both the cultures and lifestyle.
यार ऐसा नहीं है, because you feel I'm not a celeb.
Not a celeb.
I'm not a celeb. I think the thing is that these things, I don't think in this particular case these things really don't matter, because enjoying yourself, I really enjoy myself now also. I enjoyed myself in different ways then. So I mean, I'm not being able to understand. Yeah, I think.
Do you feel the difference?
Can I tell you something? I feel like, I'll tell you something. Issues, problems, stress, all of these things don't change because you are more wealthy. I have been someone who has not had the privileges and the money that I have right now, the kind of life that I can provide to my parents now. We didn't have that. But at that time also, people had problems, and now also we had problems. And Jim Carrey said a very nice thing. He said that, I might not quote him correctly, but he said that I want everyone in this world to experience fame and money to know that that is not what life is about. So I am a very, very true believer in that. I can tell you 100% that life is not about that. And I know a lot of people might read this and put comment and say, हाँ बड़ा बोल रही है तो बोल रही है and all that. Fair enough, you're right. है तो बोल रही है. जब तक you don't stand in those shoes, you will not be able to tell. But I have stood in both, so I can say that that is not what life is about. Desires is actually what makes you miserable in life. You know, so I feel like that's what I try to cut out from my life. And I feel like I'm just, at that time I didn't know that because I was much younger. Now I know it, so I'm much happier. That's the only thing.
I'm Dr. Vivek Gupta and fan of Shekhar rather than everybody. But
I think your question should be to him only now.
He's a cardiologist. He's really after me.
No, there is no doubt. I read his national interest column such precisely he writes every week. It's not easy. So I'm cardiologist by profession. I just came again from a conference in Lalit, which is going. I just ran to it. I thought you should meet. Question for Varun first, and then to Anushka ji. I'm Dr. Vivek Gupta. I've been watching your father's movie quite a lot. And he has been directing Mr. Govinda, who is now my personal friend also, quite a bit. And in fact, the stardom of Govinda ji partially goes to your father's. When you were introduced.
Do you have early memories of Govinda in your household?
Yeah. I have major memories of it.
So just recall some.
Yeah, when you came into this, people thought that you're possibly going into the shoes of the footstep of Mr. Govinda, and we liked your way and the way. Do you think that sometime you will become the similar comedy king or something like that? What Govinda ji, especially dancing and also. And the second question, Anushka ji, I think that we should complete. When you married Virat Kohli, who of course we are following, do you think this performance has grown up further and which we are seeing
think
it?
That's not fair. No. Look, these are grown-up adults and professionals. Right, to ask them questions about each other's performance.
Okay. So, Mr. I think more question was more important.
Maybe she's not even a cricket fan, but why should she tell us that and disappoint us?
Okay, Dr. Saab, I'll answer your question. I think इस दुनिया में सिर्फ एक ही गोविंदा है और एक ही गोविंदा रहेगा. He's a legend, that man, and he's one of the, honestly, the kind of stuff that he did at that time, there's no one who can see that. I've had the privilege of sitting and...
करिश्मा भी लानी पड़ेगी.
100%. वो हो ही नहीं सकते. You can't repeat that. Yeah.
Everybody knows.
No, but I think Chichivia, there's never going to be another... there's never going to be another Govinda because he's a genius, that man. I've actually had the privilege of seeing him see scenes where he's seen like a 2-page monologue and just one glance, take. And he would do it like that, like this. So, actually because of him, I thought acting is very easy initially because I would say that, aise kaise? As I grew older, I realized how difficult he is and how big a genius this man is. Till date, he's an inspiration to me. Till date, I watch his movies, his clips, to get inspired of how he does scenes, and I obviously want to try. I love comedy, and I love doing comedy, but boss Govinda nahi ban sakta. He's too great. That
Thank you for your modesty.
So do you have early memories of Govinda? Will you tell us something?
I have too many. I think as a kid, he would tell me, "Tu bahut sawal poochta hai, Varun," because I would keep saying, "Chichi bhaiya, why like that? Why not like that?" So every night when we would do dinner, he would imitate me. He would do a skit near my mom and he would imitate me. And I think before Yash was born, who his son is, Yash Vardhan, he wanted, because I was very close to him, childhood, I would play a lot with him and all that stuff. And he would tell me, I want a son because I want to have a son so he can ask me all these questions only. Saying, itne questions पूछता है, मुझे भी चाहिए कि एक बेटा हो जो मुझे ऐसे सब question पूछे. One thing I remember very clearly about him, which my dad would also say, that every time he would do a take, फिर lunch break होता था, he would often take out, he would remove his clothes and then he would wash them, sometimes himself with the soap, istri करके फिर चकाचक पहनता था. He's like, अब लग रहा हूँ ना मैं ऐसा ही. So I think that's because he wanted to present himself always like chakachak and this and that. And I have a lot of memories of him making me laugh throughout my childhood. I would just be very entertained. And
do you also mimic him?
Who, Chichivia? No, I mimic him, but I mean, there's one expression he does. Yeah, but I mean, he's too great, yeah.
I think he's an original. You have Michael.
Hello everyone, I am Khushi Gusain, a student of class 10, and I'm first of all very glad to see both of you here. It's a very big day for me. My question is for Varun. While you were promoting October, there was a news spread that you yourself with your own will have reduced your fee to 50%. But for that thing, like obviously it was not intention to do publicity and all that sort of thing, but you did it for somebody's good and not for publicity. But still some critiques and people have taken it so negatively. Like that week on Instagram, it was all about that Varun Dhawan has done 50% fee with this and for that. And also while you were promoting Badlapur, you danced with a girl on the stage, if you remember that, uska top upar hua tha, and it was not at all your intention. But news is fairly कि Varun Dhawan ने बदतमीजी करी fan के साथ. So how do you take up such things? Because you doing it such good intention, but in negative way में चला जाता है.
You know, very shocked because he's like controversy free. I'm very jealous कि nothing happens around him. I was like, this is like.
मेरी जो controversy होती है सिर्फ बच्चों में होती है. It's on that level. School. It's only on that level. It's only, and I'm glad it's there because I try and do films for them. When these, I remember what you're talking about also very clearly. I think when these things happen, the idea is, I know how I'm connected with a fan, or I know how I'm connected. I remember this was during a college function. Then something on YouTube only came like this. It doesn't bother me because, my intentions are correct and people know me. Like that girl is still in touch. She still like emails me sometimes, messages or whatever, And these are all fans who love my work. Obviously, that's why they are fans.
I'm one of them, like a very big one.
Thank you so much. So I don't think so anyone does misunderstand that someone in the media is just playing to get views or trying to do something like that. And I do dance with abandonment sometimes, So I don't think of these things. And but now that I've grown up, I have to also be careful that I don't hurt someone while I'm dancing, at least. With that spirit. And as far as cutting the fee is concerned, honestly, these things don't matter. And I will say this, if a film comes, which I know is going to appeal to so many people, I believe from my heart, then money is not the criteria. It's never going to be the criteria. Because it's art eventually. And I'm here for that. I'm not here for the money.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anushka, you just mentioned that just talking is never enough. But we know for a fact that when it comes to structural inequalities in the film industry, when it comes to...
If you drop it, she'll be blamed again. So I'd rather not throw it.
You said just talking is never enough, but you have been one of the more vocal female actors when it comes to issues regarding women actors being treated in an inferior way. For example, you at some point mentioned that when you're given hotels, the male actor is given a bigger room. Do you think just by the virtue of speaking and people like you speaking, there has been some change? And what has the most tangible change been?
See, when I said that we don't have to talk about everything that we're asked, what I meant to say was that the things that we want to talk about, we will talk about. But a lot of times we are asked to speak on topics which we have absolutely no connection with, and sometimes you really understand that you're making a comment on this is not really going to be of any relevance and solve the issue in any way. It's just unnecessarily, like I said earlier, to just create more like voices, right? And voices where you feel used because sometimes what you say also is just used for certain agenda rather than for the spirit with which you spoke. So I will speak about the things that I believe in. So I spoke about the pay disparity or the way the treatment, etc. Or today we were talking about whatever we spoke about today because I wanted to and I chose to spoke about it. But you can't tell me what to speak about. Yes, of course, changes happen and because more people talk about it, I guess then other people have to get responsible or they are kind of picked up and they have to make some changes or they have to be responsible
What's the most tangible change that you have seen after you started speaking?
I think talking can just create awareness. Talking can not solve the issue completely. What has happened today, and I think that's something that I have always maintained, that I think our audience is way more evolved, way more progressive than even our film fraternity. Because in today's age, like I said earlier, female-centric films or female films like with the main protagonist being a woman have gone and done so much business. They've done a lot of business and only because the audience has accepted it. So this has proven that the audiences are ready to watch films even if the girl is the main protagonist as long as the film is a good film and it's an entertaining film. But somewhere our fraternity only takes actions of these things only when the audience does that, has that reaction. somewhere we become more perceptive of it because we realize that my issue has always been very clear that the success of a film where a male, see, I'm not ever going to compare my, figures or anything with the, like if we say the Khans, because they've been acting since years. Their audiences span over 3 generations. That's a different ball game altogether.
With all 3 Khans.
Yeah, I have. But I will never take the credit of those films and say, oh, meri wajah se wo pictures. I have played a part in it, but you can't. But there are films that you do with your co-actors who are your, your contemporary co-actors, male actors, and a lot of times the fraternity adds the, gives the onus of the success of those films to the male actor. Even though there's a top A-list actress with the guy, but always it said, iski picture, is hero ki picture, pichli picture ne itna number kiya tha. You just forget that the fact that there was a leading actress with him, you forget the fact that the guy had so many songs, like things which people go watch, things which get marketed and people, watch the songs get popular, people go and watch those films. So people forget all of those things and just say the male actor is done and the importance is not given to the girl at all. She's just used as an accessory, which she's not, because if that was the case, why aren't you making films just with a guy? We too are doing films with just girls. We are going and doing films. We don't have like a A-list actor with us, opposite us in films. So I think somewhere those were the things that I pointed out, and those were the things I think a lot of my contemporary actresses also spoke about. But I think the changes will only happen when the films go on to do well, which is happening now. Now the films are doing business. People are understanding also. This year only it's happened.
Been a great,
even before that, even with like...
no, it's happened before also, but this year has been amazing because you have Viredi Wedding, you have Razi, you have Stree, you have so many films,
And you have to understand that...
female actors have given, like honestly, even solo hits without any lead actors. And it's only going to add to Indian cinema. Because the more star power
because
you
what
have...
happens is, say you do one film, when it starts off and a female is doing a film, that does certain amount of business and the producer feels, acha, itna to ho hi jata hai, let me then do that. Then slowly it increases, and you start making films, and you add to that. So I think all of us have taken the responsibility to do that. We can take responsibility as women to say no to films which is not showing us in the right way, or we don't have anything to do in those films. But just talking about it is going to be great for TV shows, but that's really not going. That's not the only way of doing it. That's what one needs to understand. Then you have to, and I think I've spoken enough about it. Everybody knows what my viewpoints are on these things.
In fact, the 2 films you mentioned, where women have central roles, Razi,
Viredi Wedding this year.
Viredi Wedding, but also say Mulk. And I'm mentioning these 2 because of the question you asked. Now, these 2 films got the maximum trolling for being quote-unquote anti-national. But these are the 2 films that were banned in Pakistan. So, I mean, if you draw a reasonable conclusion, if these films are so anti-national in India, why has Pakistan banned them? Because when India produces films of this quality, which are, and where filmmakers are willing to look within and be critical of ourselves, it actually speaks for India's strength, not for India's weakness. And the fact that women characters led both these films is even more remarkable. So I think we'll take 2 more questions because Sanya is being shouted at in her ear. Who has the microphone? Anand.
Hi Varun and hi Anushka. I'm Anand. I work with the print. My question is to Anushka. Sometime back, you have tweeted a video shaming a Mumbai man littering. I'm genuinely asking a question. What was the thought process behind it when you saw that, and what made you record that, and what made you tweet it? I mean, it's not something to corner you, but just a genuine thing.
No, I don't feel cornered by you, so don't worry about it. See, the thing is that because the video was placed with the absolute correct intention, I will do it the same way 1,000 times around. Let me tell you that. However, the way in which the ripple effect of it was portrayed, the way it was made out to be, just because we chose not to comment on that and chose not to speak about that, it has taken some kind of a, form, and I'm completely okay with that. I feel like that if you do something, you are pointed at. If you don't do something, you get pointed at. If I am doing something which has affected me, you will firstly say that she's doing this because she's an actor or because she's a public figure, or for whatever else was spoken, publicities ke liye kar rahe hain and all of that. I mean, come on, let's not even get to the fact that, one doesn't need publicity out of these things. We are doing quite well, thank you. Okay, but when something like this constantly gets spoken about and the real meaning and intent of it gets taken away, it's a good learning for us also that I think it's better, and that's when I was telling the lady here, that's better to do things as an example rather to tell anybody anything over here, because it's best that, like I was saying, that a lot of times you feel like you are taken seriously, but no, nobody really actually takes you seriously, and a lot of times your good intent can be taken in the wrong way because some party decides to see it in a certain way, or they have a lot of hatred for you, especially in this generation of social media. If even 10 people, like I saw one cartoon which came up, of which was really speaking about how something about, oh, Anushka is coming, so let me not litter. Even if 10 people can have that fear when they're not doing something, that I'll be very happy with all the backlash that we've received, because the intent behind it was good. And if even 10 people can become socially conscious, which is not something that I need to tell anybody, quite honestly speaking. I mean, it's something, and especially not to an educated human being, educated person who's well privileged, doing very well in life, doesn't need to be doesn't need to be told. But I think even if it has happened, it has changed that lives of that many people, I'm pretty happy, and I will do it 10 times over. And it wasn't to shame anybody at all, so please get that clear.
Ananta?
Yes. I'm Ananta Singh Raghuvanshi. Anushka ji, so many questions have been asked from you, and you've answered them all so beautifully. You asked one question about why army kids are called brats. I'm also one of them. So I'll give you an answer to that.
Brattiest of them all.
Yes, I've been doing real estate marketing for 28 years. B for brave, we watch our parents growing up. R for real, we always speak our mind. And tough, because circumstances make us so.
I thought
so
B
that's
for brat.
There you go.
BRAT.
Now that makes more sense to me.
Thank you.
You ask a question, and then the gentleman here. I think these two, and we'll close it because I see her colleagues there.
Hi everyone, I'm Vaishali and I'm a business strategy consultant. So Anushka, you spoke about being socially responsible, and I follow you on Instagram, Varun, lots of socially responsible posts. So do you think actors should take responsibility for the kind of message their films portray in the society? For instance, Bollywood tends to glorify when a guy is stalking a woman to pursue her, or objectification of women. Do you tend to take a stand against it? And how is that perceived by your director, or let's say your producer, who have a lot of pressure of, for instance, being a 100 crore film?
I can only answer that by just telling you what I said earlier, that you can only do it with the decisions you take in your life. I have never done an item song in my career. I have been offered a lot of times, but I just was not okay with it, because I realized that if it was done in a certain way where you are celebrating the sexuality of a woman, it's a different thing. But if it's done as itemizing a woman and making her feel like some object of desire, it's not something that I was comfortable doing. So I didn't do it. And a lot of times the lyrics are also something that I felt like, don't portray women or portray the society, or the society that one wants to live in the right way. And it obviously generates and makes people think that it is okay because it's happening like in such a wide way, and everyone's watching it and singing it and all of that. So it feels like it's acceptable, and it's not. So I think it is your responsibility with the kind of way in which you portray, and I've always been very conscious about it. Yeah.
Sir, absolutely the last two questions, and let me also once again repeat the housekeeping tips. Once we finish, please don't mob this area. We'll have a team picture. After that, if they have the time, and if you are orderly, you can have some pictures and things, but you will have to please do queue up as you would do anywhere else. Otherwise, they have bouncers who will just whisk them away, right? And then you can have as many pictures as you want with me instead.
I'm Rakesh Gupta from Apollo Tires and UFO Movies. I want to ask Anushka ji that you have done at least 2 films. One is...
What kind of films do you make?
Yeah, I'm making short movies. So my last movie went for screening at Cannes Film Festival also. So you have done at least 2 films which are based on entities from another world like Filori or Pari. Is there any specific reason, or do you have any particular interest in doing film based on paranormal activities? And
आप टिकट भूल गए, वो मार्स से आया था.
are you planning to do more such movies, and any particular incident on the sets of these movies which
Do you like scary movies or what?
Yeah, no, I mean the movies
I mean,
based
I
on
thought-
paranormal activities.
See, for me, that's broadly you can say that. But for me, Pari was like a film which shows that while the actions of a demon can be so humane, humans sometimes behave so demonic. So I think that was the takeaway for me from that film. So yes, of course, it was a person who was not a human being and a demon. But I think that was what was interesting. And as an actor, you always want to do roles which are, different and challenge you. And that's why I chose those films. There's no particular reason. They just happen to kind of, happen back to back. But it's not like I'm watching horror movies all the time or like I believe in ghosts or stuff like that. ऐसा कुछ नहीं.
Yes. Go ahead.
So obviously there's been this nepotism debate a lot in the film industry and generally. But as a star actor, are there any downsides to that? Do you have to work twice as hard? Do you get tired of having to defend yourself? Because people do tend to ask you how easy has it been for you in the industry.
Can I answer
and
that for
things
him?
like that.
Can I answer that for him, please? I think people should be, you guys be less interested in watching star actors, kids. When they're like 10 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, you want to... Yeah,
When they're
Taimur.
2 years
Yeah,
old,
exactly,
Taimur.
2 years old.
You saw something topless, Taimur.
I agree with you that, yes, nepotism exists, but at the end of the day, also understand what's on the other side also, right? People are interested in watching their lives and watching them from the time that they're there. They are not giving them a sense of normalcy, and then it is an eventuality that they're going to become, they're going to become this because anyways their lives are kind of, that world is created for them, right? Having said that, yes, of course, I mean, I don't know, I just wanted to just make this point, now you can answer.
No, see, I get the whole debate around it, and it totally does exist, and it's unfair. I get that. I've always said cinema is no one's birthright. I made a joke about it also once, for which I got massively trolled as well. Apologize about it, because it was a joke. It was self-deprecating humor at that time. Now, what I want to say is that what actually matters, again, I'm going to say this again, and trust me, all this doesn't matter. These debates, all this, we can keep having them. They're very entertaining. What matters is the audience. The audience pays hard-earned money to watch a film in the theatre. What do they want? Entertainment. If you don't give them entertainment, the film will flop. If you give them entertainment and they like it, the film will do well. And I've had a couple of films release soon after all this, and they've gone on to do very well after that. So they aren't judging with that eye eventually. They feel acha actor hai, bura actor hai. And there have been so many star kids that have failed. So many. So if it was that only star kids are doing well, then that's not possible. The opportunity thing is totally correct. They do get more opportunities, but from my point of view, they get more chances.
Yes, I agree
100%.
with that. They do get more chances than a
100%.
non-film background ka actor.
Not all of
you will definitely get a chance first. But if you're not talented, you're not going to do it.
Understand that it's also the interest